Hi, my name is Koku with blackfilm.com, and I'm here with gospel music legend Bishop Marvin Sapp, and we're here to promote his upcoming TV One biopic, Never Would Have Made It, the Marvin Sapp story, premiering on Sunday, August 21st. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited about being here.
I'm so excited. It's such an honor. There's not many times you get to speak to someone like you, one of those people that can actually really, really sing.
That's kind of cool, but I don't know.
No shade, but
Okay, no shade to nobody. Yeah, wow.
No. But I just want to start off. You grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I want to talk about what that was like as far as a childhood in Grand Rapids.
Being born and raised in West Michigan for me was great, but at the same token, growing up in the inner city in the 70s was hard for everybody, because we were dealing with so many different things coming out of, the whole piece of Jim Crow and all of that. Because from the 60s to the 70s, things were transitioning, things were changing, but still people were trying to hold on to, that old, guard. And it just wasn't happening in the South, believe it or not, it was happening up north too. So, but one of the greatest blessings about it is that my mother and my father really guarded us and really more or less kept us away from all of that, and made sure that, even though they lived in separate households because they were divorced, we were able to experience all of the things that we needed to in order to grow up to be productive young men.
And then when we watch your story, you're incredibly honest about things that some people may have been themselves guarded about. And you talk about, like you said, you had both of your parents, they were both in your lives, they wanted the best for you. But as children, we can be drawn towards things that we have no business being drawn towards, right? So you were always in the church, right? But then
born and raised in the church. I tell the story all the time, and it's not a part of the movie, but just, at the age of 10, my mother made me choose to either sing in the church or sing secular music. And I chose to sing church music and never. But, even with that, I was singing in the church, but I sure wasn't living it. So, I started doing some really bad things early in life, at the age of 12. I smoked my first joint at the age of 16. I began to drink pop pills. And at the age of 18, I snorted my first line of cocaine. So it's crazy because, every day I was at the church, and I know I was more or less acting out because of the divorce and just trying to figure out my way and fit in places that I wasn't called to fit into.
I think what stood out to me and what kind of resonated with me, and it became something where I had to think about it too, was when your father said to you, do you want to be a leader or a follower? Right. And I'm sure that probably, of course, affected how you decided to move forward.
Absolutely. Because, again, I realized that because of my gift and because of my talent, I had a lot of people around me that was connected to me. But at the same token, I was a little guy. A lot of people, I was 5'2" from the age of 12 to 20, to be honest with you. And, but still, I wanted to be within the in crowd. And I knew I could be within the in crowd when it came to singing and being in church. But, being a gospel singer, when everybody was listening to New Edition and stuff like that, in the late 70s, early 80s, it wasn't that cool of a thing. So I wanted to be a part of what everybody else was being a part of. And I got caught up a little bit.
And I see the impact that MaLinda had on your entire life. And I really look at this movie as an ode to her life,
Yeah, I agree. And when we sat down, myself and the writing team and Russ, and just the whole team as pertains to what TV One really wanted to share, is they wanted to share more or less a coming of age story. And I was with it because, we see so many, stories out here about individuals that get caught up and never come out.
Yeah.
But what we need to see too is we need to see that you can have a traumatic life, but still you can overcome. And, MaLinda was a part of that process. of my overcoming. She was always there. You know, there are things that we couldn't put in the movie because there was so much information. But like MaLinda was my boss at my first job at 14.
Oh wow.
We both worked at Baskin Robbins in our city.
Oh wow.
And she was like the assistant manager at like 14, and I got a job there. We scooped ice cream, and then I also worked for her at a residential treatment facility in which she was the director of that facility later in life. So I mean, like, she literally played a pivotal part of my life, all my life, because we were friends. I mean, we were, when I say friends, we didn't become romantic until after she came back from school and all that. But we were great friends all through high school. And, you know, even, you know, once we got older, we just great friends. So, I mean, I'm grateful that, you know, I had somebody, you know, in my life that, you know, saw, you know, this is gonna sound like a pun that's intended, but just saw the best in me, you know, and helped me become the very best individual that I could possibly be.
Because I was even able to watch your Unsung, and I saw your daughter when she said, you know, mom, and she was just glowing thinking about it. And she was like, you know, they were really best friends. And I could tell when they're mom and dad and when they would look at each other and be best friends. So everybody saw it.
Yeah, we was tight. We was tight. I tell people we was tight as 10 toes in one shoe. I mean,
So let's talk about, because again, because of her impact, she was able to, you know, she had her own established, you know, with education and things that she was doing, but she was willing to put that to the side, or not necessarily to the side, but she was willing to invest completely into managing your career. And that's how we get to the commission, which was already an established gospel group.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when MaLinda and I, we were dating when I first got into the commission piece. And then, you know, opportunities began to happen. And, you know, when I began to kind of dibble and dabble in that whole piece of, you know, becoming a solo artist, you know, I'm funny about trusting people. And I'm still very funny about trust people. I have the same lawyer I done had for 30 years.
Really?
I have the same accountant that I've had for the last 15 years. I'm a loyalist, because once I allow people into my life, I'm very, very leery about allowing new people into that space.
I get it.
So I mean, like, you know, I just told her, I said, look, you know, you see these contracts and stuff, you read them, you talking to the lawyers, you talking to all of the you know, the executives at the record companies and all these different opportunities and stuff. You reading this stuff and you handling it. And you talking about, I'm doing this as your wife. Well, I need you to do this as my manager. Because, you know, there's nobody. I actually told her this. I told her, I said, you are the only person that outside of God that I really trust. This aspect of my life. And, you know, MaLinda, you know, she was a college professor. She was the director of psychometry at a mental hospital. She was on the board of mental hospitals in the city. She taught psychology. She taught sociology. I mean, she did a lot of things within our community and in our city. But I also call her the ultimate multitasker. I mean, because I've never seen anybody that could do everything well. And I'm not just saying that because she's here, because she was my wife, because she's my friend. I'm saying literally, this woman did everything well. If she picked it up, when she put it down, it was going to be done in excellence. And she had this statement. She said all the time that excellence is the standards, not the goal. Standards, not the goal. So she took it, she ran with it. She executive produced 2 videos and did the editing on them. Had never did it before.
The editing even?
Yeah. She executive produced my Thirsty video, and she also executive produced my Here I Am video. And I'm just saying, this is a person that never did anything like that before. Went down, sat with the editing team for a week, you know, did all the shots. Don't do that one, take that. And I mean, she did all this stuff while still maintaining her position and her posture in our community. And it's, you know, I mean, it's absolutely an amazing void that's in my life.
Yeah.
But I'm so very grateful that for 18 years I had her.
No, for sure. And I'm so glad the way that, again, how you honored her. I mean, we would all wish and hope that we ever meet someone that could ever impact our lives in such a way. I can
Absolutely.
honestly tell you, I ain't never met nobody like MaLinda. I don't think he's out there for me, but
Listen, and that's and that's the real trick because I believe that it's out there for everybody. I
okay,
think,
good.
I think one of the challenges of it all, though, honestly, is that we were young
Hmm.
when we started doing this, and I'll tell anybody now this new world, everybody wants to be a boss before they find that person.
Yeah.
And MaLinda and I were broke. We didn't have nothing, you know, and we built together. But
Yeah.
one thing we did have is we had dreams,
Yeah.
we had focus, we had direction. And I tell this to people all the time. I was before I moved to Dallas, I was looking through a lot of our, things, packing them up, and for to put them in storage. And while I was packing and putting everything up in storage, I found some documents from like 22 years ago.
Mm.
Like we would sit down and we would forecast our future. I
Oh,
mean, and we'd write it out. We'd write it out. So now we do stuff called, what vision boards and stuff.
yeah.
We didn't have no vision board. We just wrote out our 5-year plan. We wrote out
Ah.
our 10-year plan. And I look back at one of them that we did together, and I was like, man, we accomplished everything we desired to accomplish.
Hmm.
And, we didn't get a chance to do some of the other things, but that just means that I'm supposed to just move forward and finish that aspect of it, because a lot of those goals were individual and they weren't necessarily goals that we could do together.
Hmm. And I know you also suffered another great loss in your father, and we talk about, and I want to transition into how we even get to never would have made it, which is what everybody knows, even a person that doesn't listen to gospel
Right.
knows that song, and we know where we about to get with that. But how to never would have made it? How did we even get to where that song was? What inspired you to make the song, and how did the song come to be?
Well, amazingly enough, people, this song just happened in a moment. I
Hmm.
mean, really, it just happened in a moment. I buried my father on a Thursday.
Hmm.
He died on the 29th of September. And, that next Thursday, I buried him. And I
Hmm.
came to the church that Sunday morning. Usually people take time off, but I was young and stupid. I was just 39 years old.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking that I have the ability to be able to come in and just preach at the church like normal. But when I
Hmm.
walked into the church, everything was normal. And when I looked to the front of my sanctuary, my father's body was no longer there, and I
Hmm.
literally broke down. I don't know if I thought or imagined that he was still going to be there, even though I knew I dropped him off at the cemetery
Hmm.
and he had told me not to come back anymore. Um, I'm balling, right? And
Hmm.
we usually finish our praise and worship service actually with a song called I'll Praise You.
Hmm.
This Sunday, though, I'll Praise You is an up-tempo song. I didn't feel like singing it. I was in tears. I was
Hmm.
bawling. And I just walked up to my podium in my church and stopped the music from playing. And I just started singing those words. I never would have made it.
Mm.
I never could have made it. I'd have lost it all. But now I see how you've been there for me. And after this, I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to be wiser. I'm going to be better. And the words just happened. It was a moment, to be perfectly honest with you. And it dismantled my church, to say the least. I didn't get the opportunity to preach at all that Sunday morning.
Hmm.
And so many people came to the altar, gave their lives to the Lord that Sunday. And that was probably one of the quickest services we ever had, to be honest.
Mm.
We was probably in there 45 minutes. But that's how it actually happened. It was not like I sat down and wrote out or thought about. It just was a spontaneous moment. And I never thought that something so simple would have such impact. Um, the words are never woulda, never coulda, stronger, wiser, better. That's the whole song. That's the whole song. Never woulda, never coulda, stronger, wiser, better. And I'm grateful that I did listen to the nagging of MaLinda
Hmm. Hmm.
because 16 years later, The song is still doing what it does. And what's really amazing is that it's crossed over genres. It's been sampled. It's been remixed.
Yeah.
You can hear it on Sunday in your church.
Absolutely.
You can hear it on Saturday at the club.
I have.
You can hear it at a Sunday brunch someplace. You can hear it in your workout facilities.
Yeah.
It's an impactful song, and I'm grateful. And this is the best way to say it. I'm grateful that God used me as a conduit.
Yes.
To actually get the message out that none of us ever would have made it without him.
No, thank you for that song, because just like you said, it has such an impact, and it depending on where I'm at, like, it's always appropriate.
Right.
Yeah, it fits the mood, but it uplifts you. There are just certain songs that can do that for you. But I do have to wonder, what were you thinking on the morning you woke up and you seeing there are TikTok challenges?
See, now you want to mess with the fleshy side. See, because I'm a preacher of the gospel of Jesus Christ, but I'm also an artist. I'm an artist, so I loved it when I first heard it on TikTok and heard it on. Never would have that never. I was listening to that, but see, there's another aspect. I heard ching 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 ching. I just heard dollars coming in because that's royalties. That's royalties.
Exactly.
So,
I'm not mad at that.
So I'm grateful. People ask me all the time, how does it feel to have your music played here, there, and everywhere? And as a preacher of the gospel, you should be offended. I'm like, I ain't offended. The music will do what it's supposed to do. So it's doing what it's supposed to do. So I'm like, and 16 years later,
right?
How good it feels to still have a relevant hit song.
Yeah.
16 years later, to the point where people decided that they wanted to take your experience and make a movie out of it. That's just amazing.
That is so true. That is absolutely. I mean, so what do your kids think about the TikTok challenges?
My kids, they love it. They really do. I mean, like, they were young when 16 years ago, my son was Jesus, because he's 28 now. He was 12. 16 years ago, my daughter's 20. She's 25. She's 9. 16 years ago, my daughter.
So they're of that generation. Where
yeah. So they see it, and it's amazing to them because they lived it. And see, that's the real thing. The real truth about it is that back then, because we were going through so many different challenges, we lost grandpa, and then a few years later, mom gets sick, and then we lose mom. So we never really got the opportunity to enjoy the momentum of the success.
That's true.
Because we was always in some type of difficult, challenging, traumatic moment. So now that we're older, and I keep saying we're, but now that they're older,
stop.
now that they're older, they fuss at me about stuff like, they said to me, Dad, you just don't act like you ought to be really excited about this. Why aren't you excited? Like I said, well, what do you mean? And he's like, you should be like, jumping off the rafters and da, da, da. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, I'm grateful.
Yeah.
I'm thankful and I'm honored. It's like, no, that ain't how you supposed to be excited. You supposed to be like, I'm that dude, and I'm like, oh, I'm just grateful. I'm excited. I'm thankful, and I understand the assignment of this biopic for me.
Yes,
for
sure.
And the assignment of the biopic for me is, even though it is a movie and it has funny parts on it and all this kind of stuff.
Yes, it does.
I understand that it's a ministry tool as well. And when I say it's a ministry tool, there's some mother out there that, their child is wayward and doing all kind of crazy foolishness that they don't know of, or they may know about. And they challenge and they try to check and try to raise. There's someone out there who's dealing with, a personal illness that they're struggling to overcome. There's someone out there that's experienced experiencing crazy loss, within, a short period of time because of COVID, and really trying to figure out how to navigate through, these, chaotic waters. And, hopefully when they see how, I came through it, and that God is really no respecter of persons, that, they can lean and depend on him as well to get through whatever they're facing.
I know that's right. And I just have to ask you too, what do you think it is about your music that resonates within the secular world so well? I mean,
you know what? I asked myself that same question. I'm like, I don't, and honestly, I don't consider myself to be a great singer. I really don't.
I disagree with you.
I consider myself to be a good singer, but I think I'm a big proponent on content as it pertains to what you say. And I believe very strongly that one of the main reasons why I never would have made it has stood the test of time, because all of us have had never would have made it moments.
Yes, we all have.
Because all of us have had never would have made it moments, we literally needed to figure out a way to get through it. And at the end of the day, no matter who you ascribe to, some people ascribe to Buddha, Krishna, Muhammad, crystals, whatever. You can take that song. Me personally, I don't ascribe to any of those things, but I never would have made it without God. Somebody could say they never would have made it without their cousin. Every last one of us have had never would have made it moments, and we have to learn how to use those moments as fuel to get to our next level.
I thank you for that for doing all of that for all of us, really, and regardless of, like you said, of denomination or who they pray to. But I think that's really what it is that because you're willing to, again, you said you speak, the message speaks very clearly to many people. So because you're able to do that and say that in such a way, that's why I think people just really are so drawn to your music. But we have to talk about right now, you've got your gospel album, Substance, out. Yeah. And we got a top 10 single here with All in Your Hands.
That's amazing.
He's like, all these years?
I'm tripping on it. And let me tell you why, because, 32 years ago, I started this journey musically.
Yeah.
And you never think when you start that you're going to be here, some 30 plus years later. I mean, at least I didn't, I never imagined that I would still be here and relevant. That's key, because there's a whole lot of people that's still out there, doing music, but their relevancy has weaned. And I just think that I'm grateful, and this particular CD is amazing simply because it's out on my own personal label, Elevate Media and Entertainment, and to have a top 10 single, All in Your Hands, on your own label.
Oh, that's even better. Yeah.
Is a great feeling, because for 30 years, I was on a major label.
Yeah.
I was with Sony for 30 years, and now being able to own myself.
Yeah.
Everything.
You pay yourself, own yourself.
Oh yeah. So this has been great. It's been great. And I want to tell everybody to go out there and get it.
Yeah.
Brand new CD. You can get it on all of your media outlets, wherever your streaming is from. It's available. You can go to Walmart, you can go to Amazon, you can get it any and everywhere.
No excuse.
And it's called Substance by Marvin Sapp.
And then you're still right now, you're in Texas.
Oh yeah, where is
people can come to your church?
Where it's hot as fish grease. It's so hot down here, it's hot as fish.
So you see me, I'm not in Texas, but I was over here like
for 60 plus days, it has been 100 plus degrees.
I can't imagine that. I don't
want no rain in sight. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. No, but you can come to my church. I pastor an amazing church in the city of Fort Worth, Texas. And the church is called The Chosen Vessel. And I would love for you all to come, as well as you can watch us every Sunday, 11 time. We stream everywhere. You can follow. If you go to any of my social media platforms, you can watch our worship services anytime, because once they go up, they stay up.
Okay, so if somebody wants to come to your worship services on a Sunday, is there a procedure?
Just come. I'm in the reddest of red states. So girl down here, Just you can go to church with any and everything now.
Okay.
So yeah, but definitely come. And one of the things that we do in our church though right now, because in the I got a lot of medical people who go to my church. So one of the things we're doing now, they suggested that indoors
Yeah.
at the point that we do mass. But I mean, like that's just what we do. So I mean, like you can go anywhere in Texas and do anything, but indoors we're doing mask right now. So if you come, just bring your mask. If you don't have one, we'll have one for you. But you're gonna have a great time. I promise you. 2 hours. I don't play. We do 2 hours.
That's right. Well, actually, 2 hours. That's kind of short. Church sometimes used to be like 5 hours back.
That's long. We ain't doing that.
We ain't doing that.
Texas, you can't do that in Texas. It's football country.
Oh, right.
I had one of my members recently already call me and say, Bishop, we're not gonna be at church on this day. Like, why you not gonna be at church on this day? It's still like 2 months away. They said it's a big game taking place. Dallas Cowboys is playing so and so and so and so, and the game started 12, so we're gonna miss church. So I know that Sunday, my membership is gonna be really low. So that's what it is. But this is big football country, so you can't keep people in church too long because you won't have church. Nobody will be there.
I want to thank you so much for your time, Bishop. It has been such a pleasure and honor to speak with you, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No problem. Once again, we were here with Bishop Marvin Sapp. We're to promote his upcoming TV One biopic, Never Would Have Made It, the Marvin Sapp story. It is premiering on TV One on Sunday, August 21st. Everybody, you have to watch it. He does have the unsung also that you can watch. And of course, you see that he has the top 10 gospel single out right now. It's a jam.
Thank you.
Substance is out. So make sure I encourage you all to watch and to listen. You will not be disappointed. Thank you. One of my favorite singers, even though he said he don't think he can sing that good. Well, he said not great, good.
I'm a good singer, but I
okay. So good. Okay, that's humble. I'll give you good. If you want to say that, that's cool.
Yeah,
if you rate yourself less than that, come on now.
I ain't the worst.
We've seen in the movie that somebody was, trying to come up against you and they couldn't hang. So I'm sure that's happened a few times.
Yeah, a few times actually.
He's like, yeah. Thanks, Bishop. Take care. If you want to see more content like this on blackfilm.com, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell.